We have an exclusive sit-down interview with the new head coach of the Indiana Fever. She was the 2023 WNBA Coach of the Year, an NCAA champion, a baller herself, a WNBA champion, and my former broadcasting teammate. What's up, Stephanie White?
What's going on? How are you?
Stephanie White walked into the Indiana Fever locker room with a clear mission: to transform a talented yet relatively inexperienced team into a championship contender. Her first move was to craft a strategy that would push Caitlin Clark's game to new heights, making it impossible for defenses to predict her next move.
Looking up all of your history and stories, and I'm like, this is a real Indy gal. Like, born in Indiana, you played your college ball in Indiana at Purdue, you played for the Fever in the WNBA along other stops. In coaching, you actually were an assistant coach with the Fever, and now here you are, back as the head coach of the Indiana Fever.
Behind closed doors, White has been crafting a revolutionary system designed to unlock the full potential of Clark, Boston, and Mitchell in ways the league has never seen before. The technical blueprint she recently shared reveals exactly how. She plans to shake up the WNBA and accelerate Indiana's rise to the top. This isn't just a rebuild, it's a reinvention. Let's dive into White's precise strategy and how it marks a sharp departure from the approach of former Fever coach Christie's sides. If you're pumped for the Fever season, drop a comment below and let's dive in.
You've got an interesting roster that you're heading into as the head coach, and we focus in on the now for the Indiana Fever. You've got a unique locker room. It is undoubtedly super talented, but it's such a mashup of unique personalities, and I'll also say established storylines for each of these players. There aren't some players that haven't figured out what they're about, or the storyline hasn't been created for them in the W. And you've got all of this coming into your locker room. So, season's on the way. What are going to be your first priorities, maybe even exercises in creating common ground and meshing this team?
One of the early conversations, for us as a coaching staff, has just been about connection and building a relationship, and approaching the players who were in that locker room a year ago in hey, what is it that you want to accomplish? What is it that we can help you? You don't know what you don't know, right? And most of those guys were pretty young. Certainly pretty young in terms of playoff experience. And then approaching them in sort of a self-scout way, this is what we would do to you when we played you.
Stephanie White didn't just bring a clipboard back to Indiana. She brought blueprints for building a basketball empire. A few months into her tenure, we're starting to see the early stages of what she's building. And it's about much more than just adding talent.
All of those players are going to help us on the defensive end of the floor, which has been our greatest deficiency. And so I think that having veteran players who understand what it is to be a part of this organization, who are not afraid of all of the things that come with being a part of the Indiana Fever, and who ultimately, at the end of the day, are great teammates, great people, and just want to win.
The Fever's 2020 record from last season might look decent on paper, but anyone who watched them face off against the league's top teams saw that there was room for significant improvement. Christian's squads had the potential, but the supporting cast fell short when up against championship contenders like New York and Las Vegas. With stars like Clark, Mitchell, Boston, and Hull leading the way, it wasn't enough. The gaps in execution and defensive cohesion were clear, making a complete system overhaul essential.
It was really important who we added in free agency and in the offseason fit who we already had. I mean, look, our big three with Caitlin and Kelsey and Aaliyah, you got to have certain kinds of vets that fit around them. That, number one, fill the gaps that we need in our lineups, in our rosters. But number two, have accomplished multiple things that can lead them in a way that they haven't been led before, but also understand where they fit in the scope of what the Indiana Fever is about now and what we're about in the future, and that give us a chance to compete for championship.
While fans are captivated by Caitlin Clark's logo threes, What truly stands out is White's steadfast focus on defense as the foundation for championship aspirations. While Kelsey Mitchell's incredible scoring, Aaliyah Boston's post moves, and Lexi Hull's deep shooting.
DeWanna Bonner, who, again, winner, right, has won at every level, competed and won for a championship in Phoenix, competed for championships with us in Connecticut. Versatility, which is critical for our system and what we want. Ultra competitive, but also like a mother hen, right? So can be that one that can like push you and challenge you, but also like embrace you and hug you and help you understand all the things that go along with the ups and downs and the long season that we have, this sprint marathon of a season.
While fans are captivated by Caitlin Clark's logo threes, what truly stands out is White's steadfast focus on defense as the foundation for championship aspirations. While Kelsey Mitchell...
You think about bringing in Natasha Howard, who was drafted by the Indiana Fever when I was an assistant coach, was traded by the Indiana Fever when I was the head coach, just went out and won multiple championships after that, continued to
winners.
become... Absolutely, to continue to become one of the greatest players in the history of our league, played every different kind of role. Is soft-spoken, so when she speaks, you listen because it matters, right? Gives us a little bit different look at that position than we've had before.
White's strategic vision is clear in the recent roster moves. Dana Bonner is not only a talented scorer, but she also brings what White describes as mother hen energy. A fierce competitiveness combined with the ability to nurture and develop emerging talent.
Sophie Cunningham, toughness, right?
Tough.
Winner. Ability to play multiple positions, has played with tough competitors. I mean, was essentially mentored by the all-time greatest in Diana Taurasi, right? So now she can be that mentor. She can be that player who comes in and brings us that toughness and that swag, yet keeps our versatility, can knock down shots, which shot making is so important, for us, and take some pressure off of our big three, because all of these other guys can do their own thing, right? But when they fit with what we have, I think it makes us really, really dangerous.
Thanks to her time with Seattle, Natasha Howard is more than just a standout interior defender. She's a player who understands what it takes to meet championship expectations.
You have a generational talent. Sometimes that word is thrown around, but I think it's really fitting here for Caitlin and her talent and her potential at the point guard position.
These veterans are carefully chosen pieces that complement Mitchell's scoring, Boston's inside dominance, and Clark's playmaking. They aren't random acquisitions. White is constructing a cohesive team where each player's strengths elevate the others, rather than just gathering a group of individual stars.
From just a straight basketball perspective, making sure that we help her diversify her finishing ability, diversify in the way that it's not predictable, to be able to be equal in terms of production and facilitation, going right and left.
What's most compelling is how White leverages her previous coaching experience, particularly her understanding of what it takes to build a contender from the ground up. With first-hand knowledge of shaping championship cultures, she's applying those lessons with remarkable precision in Indiana. White understands that the essence of a championship can't just be taught in film sessions. It must be lived, embodied, and passed down from veterans who've climbed that mountain. That's why, in addition to their on-court performance, Bonner and Howard are instilling championship habits during team meals and practice film sessions.
To be able to have different types of finishing looks, whether it's, crossbody finishes, whether it's floaters at the rim, whether it's quick floaters, long floaters, Euros. You can't quite be as fundamentally predictable with as much athleticism, speed, quickness, and as much as the game plan is going to be geared toward her.
With the ball frequently in her hands and defensive pressure growing more complex with each game, double and triple teams became a regular challenge for Clark, adding a hidden cost to her historic rookie season. By season's end, opponents had essentially built their entire defensive game plan around one objective: stop number 22 at all costs, often setting traps as soon as she touched the ball.
The challenge for us as coaches is how do we get her rest when she's on the floor while she's playing, right? Like while she's on the floor. And some of that's going to be playing off ball, utilize her as a screener, getting her into action on the third and fourth side instead of the first and second, where it's easy to game plan against. Now, how we use her to help everybody else be better off the ball. We know how great she is with the ball in her hands. We're not going to take that away, but we've got to be able to diversify a bit in how we use her.